and just being okay with being a sinner has become a weapon against God, because it's just like you're frustrating God's plan because you're walking around with this attitude of who is me as the sinner. Um, it's all cool to a certain extent. Like when we younger, like when I say when I was younger, I wanted to get beautiful sinner on me. That's me expressing how I felt. It's just an expression, you know. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like why should I feel like um why should I feel superior to the situation? You know, woe is me. I'm only human. Um, so I was talking about how sinners is like they can be vulnerable. And that's why it's good to be a sinner up until a certain extent. Then eventually you're gonna have to choose. And God is going to choose for you. You know, you're not going to be a sinner for the rest of your life, because you're a sinner only for a short time period. It's temporary until you're being chosen to choose which side you truly are, or you're being tested to get to know your heart as a sinner. Just as a doctor, a surgical doctor, and they're, you know, going in and doing surgery on somebody's heart or doing surgery on somebody's body. This is how God is going to treat the situation. Eventually, it's time for me to do surgery on you and see just where this woo is me is at, and how, what I can do to help the situation, and basically, you know, diagnose you as my chosen servant and my righteous servant. Because in order to, you know, um, serve in my kingdom, you will have to you have to chalk up that attitude, and we will have to do some work on you, because you can't be vulnerable out here serving me and falling to every little trick or scheme, because woo is me. When you're vulnerable, it causes complications and frustration, frustrating my plans, because, you know, I understood then why you were doing what you were doing, but then if you continue doing what you're doing, but then you made it clear of the choice you're making and the direction you're going, then I kind of get, you know, I would get kind of, you know, speaking from my standpoint, and you're still doing what you're doing, I would just be like, you know what, um, now I'm curious, like, are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for them? And if you're doing it for them, and then that's where you're going wrong. If you're doing it for you, then I understand. Just like going out here and that's what I'm saying. Well, when you consider yourself a sinner, you better be younger than 30 years old. You better be biblically, spiritually, religiously immature to go around thinking that being a sinner is okay. Because there comes a time where your choice will define you as a person. Are you the fool? Are you the joker in God's kingdom? You know, look at it as a deck of cards. Are you the joker in God's kingdom? Because if you are, I'll place you accordingly. You can't frustrate God's plans. That's all I'm saying. Um, so I was explaining this experience I had with this person. I'm like, I knew that I was, you know, chosen for God's kingdom. I feel like I knew then, like it was more serious for me to make a decision. Like I was being the one being pointed at you. Now you, it's your turn to decide whether this is the lifestyle you want to live, or you want to get more serious about what you're aiming for or your purpose in life. You want to get more serious and you want to serve, or do you want to continue this lifestyle, drawing in while also pushing out. But you'll be 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door, meaning you'll be warm. And what does it mean when you're warm? God spits you out when you're warm. So you want to be constantly spit out and judged, or you want to take it seriously and be like, woo, was me. I was that sinner, but here I am now in a whole different position. I'm so far from that place, but I've learned my lesson. I could kind of see on the outside, on the outside looking in of where I was, and how this being this way can affect today. Being this way can affect God's plan, and what I'm serving. Being this way could cut ties with God if I'm being serious based on my decisions. The fact that I got baptized, that right there was like, you have leveled up from sinner's position. So now it's time to start acting like you got some sense. Because a lot of times, like, we're very spiritual. Like I said, a lot of sinners is very spiritual. They got a heart for Christ. They got a heart for the Bible. They got a heart for the earth because they got that spirituality in them, and they just want to do more with it, and they're passionate towards it. So God sees potential in you, also knowing that you have potential, and you can, it's always been in you. So now it's all about where we're going with this. Kind of like that manager. God is your manager in life today. God is asking you, are you serious? Because if you're serious, I can work with you. This is that time. So let go of that teddy bear. And some people's teddy bear is that beautiful sinner. That mindset of, I'm a beautiful sinner. That's that mindset. That mindset is their teddy bear. And just know that, there's eventually a choice you'll have to make. Because if you don't have a foundation, then you can be used. You're the beautiful sinner. But God spits out your warm soul, your warm spirit, because you're a sinner. Not only are you a sinner, but you're warm. So therefore, since you don't have no set or legit foundation of who you serve, the devil can use you. And God doesn't want a child that can be used by the devil. That's just like, yeah. So you can be being put in, but you have to care about this. Like, you have to sit there and think about this. Like, okay, I can be used by a devil, meaning that I will be frustrating God's plans. And when God becomes frustrated with you, God becomes frustrated with you. So you got to know where you stand, because then God can punish you accordingly. So like I said, I was talking to the missionary sisters about this, and I was like, yeah, I was at a point where, that beautiful sinner mindset was drawing me in, like, but I wasn't being drawn in like I was before. Something like when after you get baptized, this isn't what you want. Like, you want it, but then you're starting to realize where you're at. So it's just like, I know I see something better for me than this, so I can be okay with letting this go, because I feel like where I'm in the direction that I'm going, this attitude or this personality or this, character or this little trait about myself will affect who I want to be going forward or what I stand for there. So therefore, I'm doing this for me, and I'm gonna let this mindset go. Like, it was fun while it lasted. You can dwell on the memories. Like, oh yeah, I remember them times. But something inside of you was just like, I remember them times, and I can see, that's a nice picture, but I'm gonna let it stay right there. I'm not gonna touch that picture. Because if I touch that picture, it's going to fall and it's going to break. And just imagine yourself being that picture on your wall, falling and breaking. It's just like, dang, just because I touched it, now I have to clean this up. And God is a merciful God, but also know in the Bible it says that God can be frustrated, meaning God can be frustrated with you. So leave that picture alone. If that teddy bear you let go, let it go. When I'm saying let it go in your mind. Let it go out. Let it be free. Let it be a distant thought. Figure out a way to reminisce without touching.